Um, it's official. The Supreme Court has just rejected an emergency request by former squatter Donald Trump to block the release of his tax returns. So that means that the Supreme Court will get their hands on his tax returns. Um, and that marks the culmination of a 3 year long legal fight with the House Ways and Means Committee, and the affirmation of a simple law allowing congressional investigators broad access to tax return information. It's unclear. It's unclear how quickly the returns will be turned over by the Treasury Department, and just how much the work of the committee may be affected by the anticipated turnover of the House of Representatives to a Republican majority. Now, there is no doubt that the returns contain a potential treasure trove of information that Trump doesn't want revealed. Now, the documents may include a full picture of the approximately 500 LLCs that Trump uses in his various business dealings by shedding light on just how much income from such pass-through entities were treated by Trump in his tax filings, as well as information about foreign assets and the charities he claims to fund. And Trump is not a charitable guy. Hell, his family is banned from one state for basically stealing the money from the charity. Now, the value of this information may be inferred by how Trump has sought to conceal it from scrutiny, and how Trump investigators and Trump haters have treated his tax returns as a holy grail for holding Trump accountable. But like all great quests, the end is less important than the means. Now, the means by which congressional investigators will finally have access to Trump's returns says much about the state of our country. Trump, unlike every other president or squatter since the 1970s, Trump refused to release his tax returns despite pledging to do so. Now, we all knew that Trump is full of shit, because he never had any intention to release his tax returns, and then he would make up some bullshit lie stating why he couldn't release them, like the lie saying that he was under audit. He was not. He just had no intention of ever releasing those returns. Now, when the Ways and Means Committee sought access to them, it was blocked by Trump's Treasury Secretary, the white supremacist Steve Mnuchin, who refused to turn over the tax returns, relying on partisan support from Trump's Justice Department. Now, after a lawsuit was filed, a judge, Trevor McFadden, a Trump sycophantic appointee, sat on the case for 2.5 years before finally ruling that the returns should be released. Now, the judge still delayed the release until the D.C. Circuit Federal Court of Now, Trevor McFadden, who's the judge, still delayed the release until the D.C. Circuit Federal Court of Appeals could rule. Now, after the D.C. Circuit also ruled against Trump and Trump's request for a full panel hearing was denied by the appeals court, the release was still thwarted by the U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, who issued a stay of action. Now, Roberts did this on November 3rd, days before the midterm elections, which at the time were widely expected to result in Republicans taking control of the House of Representatives. Contrary to Trump's argument and his Treasury Secretary's contentions, the disclosure of a president or squatter's tax returns to congressional investigators was not unprecedented. In 1973, following increasing concerns over whether President Richard Nixon had been underpaying his taxes, the IRS turned over Nixon's tax returns to a congressional committee the same day that they were requested. The scrutiny of Nixon's tax situation was led by reporting from the New York Times, Washington Post, and the Providence Journal-Bulletin that actually obtained Nixon's tax returns. Now, does this sound familiar? It should, because back in 2020, the New York Times obtained tax return data for Trump, covering more than 2 decades that revealed Trump paid no income tax for many years, and he had engaged in questionable tax practices and had received more money from foreign sources than previously had known. Now, the scandals of the Nixon-Watergate era have often provided guidance and insight into the abuse of power issues that have arisen with Trump. There is a critical difference between the political climate of that era and ours, as often has been noted. The three branches united in holding Richard Nixon accountable, with Congress conducting the hearings in the federal courts, including the Supreme Court, upholding the validity of the inquiries, including criminal investigations, and Nixon's own Justice Department refusing to give in to such Nixon demands, like asking that the Watergate special prosecutor be fired for investigating them. But no such unity has existed for Trump. Now Trump's Justice and Treasury Departments aided his efforts to shield his tax returns, and the federal judiciary added years of delay to the process, as Democratic Representative Bill Pascrell of New York has noted, the quest for Trump's taxes by the Ways and Means Committee has taken 1,329 days, nearly the length of the American Civil War. Ironically, the Supreme Court ruling against Trump also came on the anniversary of another 1,000 days, namely the anniversary of President John F. Kennedy's assassination, which ended his 1,000 days in office. Now, both of these events marked turning points in American history. The Civil War demonstrating our determination to fight for our democracy, and JFK's murder marking the end of what is considered a more innocent time in our history. In contrast, Donald Trump's taxes do not seem as monumental, but the long fight to get them says much about the dysfunctions of our current system. Now, if you like the video, you can give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. You can also hit the notification bell so that a new video so you'll be notified when a new video comes out. And if you want to support my work even further, you can donate to my Patreon link, which you can find in the About section of YouTube. And for just as little as a few bucks a month, your donation can help go a long way. And thanks for listening.